Hi guys! The theory that I chose to study this past semester was Erikson's psychosocial developmental theory, consisting of 8 different stages from infancy to adulthood. A little bit of background information on Erikson's thoughts while developing this theory was that he believed each person went through a positive or negative outcome after going through a psychosocial crisis. He also thought that each person's ego successfully develops as one crisis is overcome, and it also allows their personality to develop as well. So like I said, there were 8 different stages. However, there's a main focus on the first 5 through adolescence. The first one starts with trust versus mistrust, then autonomy versus shame and doubt, initiative versus guilt, industry versus inferiority, and finally, entering adolescence, it is identity versus role confusion. After studying the difference of this theory, I saw that there were a few different interesting implications. A lot of people like knowing the criteria for overcoming each crisis in each of the theories. It helps adults tailor specific activities to a child to help them overcome that. So for example, a 2-year-old would be in the autonomy versus shame and doubt stage. An example of an activity would be, say they are getting frustrated building a structure with blocks. It keeps falling over and they don't know what else to do. Instead of an adult coming up and helping them build it for them or telling them what to do, the adult could say, "I see that you're really frustrated. What is a different way that you could build your structure to make it stand up taller or longer?" So whenever the child finally does figure this out, he feels more competent and confident in his abilities in that activity with blocks, rather than doubting himself because he had to rely on an adult to help him get through that activity. So with the interesting implications, I also found a few challenges with that as well. I noticed a lot of people were saying that they thought it was vague, that the criteria for the development throughout each stage, and they didn't know what experiences people had to specifically go through in order to move on to the next stage. So after studying, I also found a few personal strengths I saw throughout Erikson's developmental theory as well. I thought that a set timeline for development of people to follow and to know what crisis is next and what to expect next was really helpful, but at the same time, I thought that the process of moving to each stage and how different cultures play a big part in development needs to be evaluated in this theory as well. I thought it was kind of difficult to expect every single person across the globe to follow this set ladder, I guess, of stages to follow, whenever there's so many different things to contribute to a different person's development, whenever it comes to cultural backgrounds or different places like that. So after researching this theory over the course of the semester, I do know that play is supported in this theory because it's the main contribution that helps an individual overcome each crisis and move to the next stage of development. So for an example, a child that is in the initiative versus guilt stage begins to make up games and initiate activities with their friends, like playing house or dress up. So depending on how their play and interactions go, it will cause them to overcome the crisis or to inhibit their creativity and assertiveness and kind of regress in their development. So say they want to play house with a friend and their friend rejects them or doesn't want to play with them, it could deter them from being assertive and initiating activities with their peers. So during my observations, I was able to observe in an infant and younger toddler classroom, and I did know that play was supported through the autonomy versus shame and doubt stage by giving children numerous opportunities to explore their environment. An example would be the teacher was really big on recycling different materials and creating it into toys for the kids. So she would take empty baby food containers and fill it with sand or macaroni noodles or different beads. And throughout almost my entire observation, the children were having so much fun just shaking it, looking at it, hearing the noises that they were making, and throwing it across the room. It took up a lot of their time, and I thought it was interesting that they were also exploring different materials throughout their environment as well. It wasn't just a normal rattle or a normal play that play toy that you could buy at a store. Another example would be the forest-themed classroom that I was in. The teacher had pine cones and sticks and pictures of animals in the forest all throughout the classroom, so I thought it was interesting that she was still incorporating the outside environment in the classroom whenever they couldn't really get outside through the winter months. So in conclusion, I have seen Erikson's theory integrated into numerous different ways through play, even if it's from smaller things like how a classroom is decorated, like I just explained, to even more elaborate activities that have to do with problem solving, like the blocks example I said, or independence, like arts and crafts or role playing. So thank you for watching.